That's DaveRamsey.com and click Endorsed Local Provider.
This portion of 540 WFLA is brought to you by Trustco Bank.
Hey, got a great idea for this Friday. How about lunch at Houlihan's? How about taking the whole office to my favorite restaurant? You're going to love Houlihan's. Huge menu for every taste and every price range, and everything's made from scratch at Houlihan's, where filet mignon meets truck stop fries. You're going to love it. Houlihan's, lunch or dinner today. More online at Houlihans.com. 4 locations, 192 in Kissimmee, University Boulevard near UCF, East Colonial and I Drive. It's Houlihan's.
Calling it a life-changing experience?
The world's leading light
Would be an understatement.
is building a new tomorrow.
Call 407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
So in his big speech about the Middle East and to the Muslim world, where he says we need a new approach, President Barack Obama did throw Israel under the bus. Now, he talked tough about the Palestinians, and he talked tough about Syria and the other countries as well, in that godforsaken part of the world. And but basically the message was to Israel, in order to settle this situation with the Palestinians and set the stage for a Palestinian state and hopefully an end to the endless conflicts in the Middle East, that Israel has to agree to go back to its borders prior to the 1967 war. If that happens, Prime Minister Netanyahu, I believe, quite correctly says, and he is angry as he arrives in Washington today, Israel will not be able to defend itself. It is 43 miles wide now at its narrowest point. At one point, it will now be 8 miles wide if it goes back to 1967. And there are other related issues as well. Netanyahu says that Israel believes that for peace to endure between Israelis and Palestinians, the viability of a Palestinian state cannot come at the expense of the viability of the one and only Jewish state. And that's exactly what the president is calling for. All the sacrifice really is from Israel. This makes Israel not viable. And what was really, really scary was after he talked about them retreating to their pre-1967 war borders, his next statement, and I'm not hearing this enough in the media when they play clips, was really, really ominous, I thought, for Israel. He says Israel must be able to defend itself, which he is now calling for a change that would make that impossible. But he says Israel must be able to defend itself by itself. Whoops! Oh, I always thought if push came to shove and things got tough, the United States would be there for Israel. Sounds like maybe not. Maybe not. 407-916-5400. Did you listen to the speech? Do you understand what's going on here? I'll be taking your calls moments from now. Stay on the line. 407-916-5400. And Netanyahu quite correctly reminded the president, very curtly, of commitments made to Israel in 2004 by President Bush and overwhelmingly supported by both houses of Congress, that Israel would not have to withdraw to the 1967 lines, which are indefensible and would leave major Israeli population centers in Judea and Samaria actually beyond those lines and out of Israel. It's incredible. It's incredible. And Netanyahu is really going to let the president have it today, and he should. We'll see how all of this plays out. Let me say one more thing before I get on the phone with you about this speech. 407-916-5400. Not only is the president throwing Israel under the bus, but he also, at a time when we are flat-busted broken, $14 trillion in debt, has the audacity yesterday in that speech to call for us to provide millions, make that billions of dollars in financial assistance to Egypt and Tunisia for their democratic reforms. We have no idea how this is going to turn out. It would include an estimated $1 billion in debt cancellation for Egypt because they're in trouble economically, $1 billion in loan guarantees. Come on, are you kidding? Come on. I hope Congress shuts him down on this in a heartbeat. This stuff's going down a rat hole. The Muslim Brotherhood may be running these countries. They may become Islamic states. I have no idea. And we have no control over that. And this president, again, willing to throw money we don't have at whatever he thinks is important to spend government money on, taxpayer money on. That is outrageous. I say in this particular climate of uncertainty in the Middle East, no U.S. aid. And given our economy, no U.S. aid goes to Egypt, Tunisia, or any one of these other states. Come on, please. Are you kidding me? 407-916-5400. To the phones in a moment and more of my commentary. Steve, you'll be first, and we'll get to you in 1 minute. 622 real-time traffic and weather together on the twos.
Good morning and happy Friday from the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center. We're running well eastbound and westbound on the interstate around downtown Orlando this morning. You'll have a delay-free drive on either side of the 408 past Parr Street to Maitland. We do have some heavy volume, and that's to be expected from 436 to 434. It only adds about a minute or two to your trip in Longwood. On the beach line approaching ICP, that smoke you see in the sky is from a brush fire. There's no big visibility issues. Just be careful. From the traffic center, I'm Mimi Lawson.
All right, we're looking at mostly sunny skies, brutally hot today and humid, 95. I'm heading for the beach, and 69 degrees here in Orlando right now. I've got more to say on this, and I'm going to tell you what Alan West, our darling of the Tea Party movement, rookie South Florida congressman, has to say. The most eloquent and learned response to President Obama I have heard from anyone in official Washington. Here is Steve. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Doing well. Hey, I think you're all over the board, bud. I mean, I just don't understand. You contradict yourself. You say that there needs to be, that you hope that, for example, that Congress shuts down Israel. Pardon me.
Whoa. Talking about being all over the place. I said I don't want any aid to Egypt or Tunisia.
Right. You said that Congress should shut down the president on any aid, but then you turn around and say we need to support Israel fully and we need to help them defend themselves. And
no, we need to be available. He's saying they need to be able to defend themselves on their own. We've helped Israel since its inception. There would be no way for Israel to have developed and flourished without help, particularly at the beginning here. I'm not all over the lot at all. They're our staunchest ally. If you don't give aid to Israel, who do you give it to, Steve?
As you said, don't give it to anybody. Why should you select? Number one. Number two, I mean, we created Israel, or the UN did back in the late 40s. I mean, we wiped the Palestinians off the face of the earth, to use your terminology.
So what is it you want to happen in the Middle East?
It was their land.
You want us to cut Israel loose, and do you want Ahmadinejad and the others in the Middle East, the Muslim countries that hate Israel, do you want us to just let them have at it?
There's a reason for what the situation is. We support Israel with billions and billions and billions of dollars, and you now want us to support them with our lives. No, I don't want to do it. And if you come across and say that you want to do that, then you're labeled anti-Semite or whatever it might be.
Well, you sounded a little anti-Semitic to me, by the way.
Because I disagree with you?
No. I just want you to explain to me what your problem is.
I'm not a fan of the Middle East. I'm not a fan of Israel. Done.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Come on. Alan West, South Florida rookie Republican congressman and rock-solid Tea Party guy, military hero. I mean, this guy is such a scholar. He's such a rock-solid conservative. And I'm going to share some of what he has to say about the president's speech. Because, I mean, this guy just, I mean, it was an hour or two when he had a statement out there. He really knows what he's talking about. If you ever heard him talk, this guy is a real student of history. He really is. And a real scholar when it comes to the current international geopolitical scene. He said, today's endorsement by President Barack Obama of the creation of a Hamas-led Palestinian state, and yes, Hamas is now completely connected to the Palestinian Authority, based on the pre-1967 borders, signals the most egregious foreign policy decision that the Obama administration has made to date and could be the beginning of the end as we know it for the Jewish states. That would make Steve happy, apparently. From the moment the modern-day state of Israel declared statehood in 1948 to the end of the 67 Six-Day War, Jews were forbidden access to their holiest site, the Western Wall in Jerusalem's Old City, controlled by Jordan's army. The pre-67 borders endorsed by President Obama, West writes, would deny millions of the world's Jews access to their holiest site and force Israel to return the strategically important Golan Heights to Syria, a known state sponsor of terrorism. Resorting to the pre-67 borders would mean a full withdrawal by the Israelis from the West Bank and the Jewish neighborhoods of East Jerusalem. Make no mistake, there has always been a nation of Israel, and Jerusalem has been and must always be recognized as its rightful capital. In short, the Hamas-run Palestinian state envisioned by President Obama would be devastating to Israel and the world's 13-plus million Jews. It would be a Pavlovian-style reward to a declared Islamic terrorist organization and an unacceptable policy initiative. He says it is time for the American people to stand by our strongest ally, the Jewish state of Israel, and reject this foreign policy blunder of epic proportions. That's South Florida Tea Party Republican Congressman Allen West. Not bad for a first-termer. This guy very definitely, at some point, will be seriously considered for the highest office in the land. Much more coming up. The Wall Street Journal report follows the news, and in for Michelle this morning, Daryl Moody. Stay tuned, and good morning at 6:28.
Have you looked at your investments lately? Hi, Rick Edelman here. You could well be paying too much in fees, taking too much in risk, or suffering returns that are too low compared to what's really available out there. So now's the time to deal with it. It can be fast and easy and remarkably affordable. Quick, before your attention turns to upcoming graduations, weddings, and vacations, call Edelman Financial Services at 888-PLAN-RIC. My colleagues and I will review your portfolio for free. You can't get more affordable than that. And we'll tell you if what you're doing with your money is what you ought to be doing with your money. And if we find something wrong or something you've overlooked or failed to get right, we'll tell you exactly what you need to do. Simple, fast, easy, affordable. Some would even say fun. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. For nearly 25 years, we've helped thousands of people just like you, and we're ready to help you, too. Barron's has named me the #1 independent financial advisor in the nation. So call us today at 888-PLAN-RIC or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
Love a good deal but hate coupons? ODealsDaily.com is a much easier way to save money. A single unique deal is delivered every day right to your inbox with 50% off or more from great local merchants. Spas, restaurants, hotels, golf courses, nightclubs, and family attractions. Eat, drink, and be merry, all at big savings. If you like the deal, buy it and print your certificate instantly. If not, delete it and wait for something you do like. Sign up for ODealsDaily.com and let the savings begin. It's free and easy. New day, new deal. ODealsDaily.com.
Here's another Home Depot advantage. A special buy on 1 1/4 cubic foot bags of Miracle Grow potting mix for just $6.88. That's a guaranteed low price on potting mix proven to grow plants and vegetables up to twice the size. Plus, find it lower anywhere else and we'll beat it by 10%, which means even bigger savings on even bigger plants. All thanks to Miracle Grow potting mix for just $6.88. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. U.S. only. See store for details.
Bud Henninger Live continues with news from the Fox Orlando News Center on 540 WFLA.
morning from the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center. Some particularly heavy traffic I-4 westbound between State Road 434 and 436. It's also very foggy in the Longwood area. Speaking of which, there's some fog an issue near downtown and near Vineland, Osceola Parkway and 192. And all along the Greenway, it runs well, but the fog is very thick from Goldenrod past Union Park, particularly heavy at Lake Underhill and Curry Ford Road. The beach line is almost completely fogged in. From the Traffic Center, I'm Mimi Lawson.
Traffic on Air Online is service of StanleySteamer.com. Stanley Steamer of Central Florida is celebrating 30 years of service. To show our appreciation, we're offering $30 off carpet, upholstery, tile, hardwood, air duct cleaning, and water restoration services per customer. Call for details. Minimum charges apply. Valid at participating locations. Visit us on Facebook at Stanley Steamer of Central Florida.
Weather is brought to you by MetaFast Weight Control.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, it's warm and muggy this morning, and it will be brutally hot later on today. We could be close to a record high with the mercury soaring to 95. Temperatures will stay in the mid-90s tomorrow and Sunday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
Calling it a life-changing experience?
Yes, he is the answer to the world's ills today.
Would be an understatement. Call 407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
Friday morning, you gotta love it. We're getting close to the finish line. I hope you've got great plans for the weekend. We've got lots more to talk about. The Budman here, and at 6:35, the eagerly anticipated Wall Street Journal, now a daily feature of BHL, as we welcome from New York the editor of the Wall Street Journal Radio Network, Mike Salvatorelli. Good Friday morning to you, Mike. You know, we're going to be focusing in a couple of minutes here, among other things, on the ongoing housing crisis in the Central Florida area. The Journal's all over this from a couple of angles at the national level. What have you got?
Well, there's a big drop in the number of American households behind on mortgage payments during the first 3 months of this year. Home loan delinquencies slid nearly 14% in the first quarter compared to the year before. The amount of borrowers seriously delinquent in payments has now declined for 15 straight months. That's a biggie. A healthier, albeit slow improving jobs market really has stemmed a rise among those failing to keep up with their home loan payments, and that's really the bulk of the issue. If you don't have people working, how are they going to pay for these mortgages and keep these things off of the foreclosure market? So that's a big issue.
It is, and it... Exactly right. It's a vicious, vicious circle that's very, very tough to break. Great detailed report, and you always get great detail and perspective and background in the Wall Street Journal, the best newspaper in America. Pick it up at any newsstand and check out the online edition, too, of course, at WSJ.com. Now, this is interesting on Wall Street, and this is right in your wheelhouse, of course, at the Wall Street Journal. Now, a lot of Internet companies are looking like they're really hot commodities for stockholders. The initial public offering for this professional networking site, LinkedIn, was pretty overwhelming, wasn't it?
Overwhelming, to say the least. The price of LinkedIn shares more than doubled in the first day of trading. Yesterday, the stock surged 109%, closed at $94.25 a share. Now, this suggests any plans other social networking sites have to go public would be well received. That includes Facebook and Twitter. You have to remind yourself this was the biggest internet IPO since Google's debut back in 2004. Now, remember back then, it's Google. Well, they're not going to be worth that. Now it's significantly fewer shares were offered in this case, which really helped boost the price. And you got to also listen to the critics of this, and they say, hey, wait a minute, don't be so enthralled by all this. This could be just like an internet bubble, and it may just burst and all of a sudden...
That's what I was wondering, if we're looking at a potential sequel to the infamous .com bubble in the early part of the last decade. Remember when it all burst?
True, absolutely true. And it's funny because the little side story that I've done myself, I actually called it because I had everything riding on mostly on tech stocks. I cashed them all in about a month before it happened. And I said, I'm glad I did that.
Oh, man, it went right off a cliff, and you didn't go with it. You got to love that. Every once in a while, even a blind squirrel gets a nut. Way to go, pal. All right, finally here, Mike, and this is a very serious topic. I'm sure that we've all known people who have dealt with spinal cord injury. It is devastating and pretty much kind of a life sentence to a disability and paralysis, etc., and all the complications. But now the journal is reporting on something called spinal stimulation that seems to offer help and hope. Well, there's a great detailed report there, and again, we don't want to get too far out ahead of this. It's a complicated problem, and folks with spinal cord injuries have had false hope before, but there's a great article in the Wall Street Journal, and I want to thank you so much for sharing that and everything you've got in the Journal this morning, and have a great weekend, Mike. We'll catch you Monday, same time. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. 6:39 here on BHL. We were talking about the situation with the housing market, the foreclosure situation, and nowhere in America right now is that situation more dire than it is in Orlando. We've been talking about it in the ongoing slide in the price of homes, and so many people have their entire savings tied up in what they thought was going to be the equity of their home, and now they're underwater. The equity is gone, and it's a complete nightmare with no quick end. In connection with that, I want your help on something here, because I'm going to share with you the latest report on something called the Consumer Distress Index here in the state of Florida. This is monitored all over the country on a state-by-state basis, this Consumer Distress Index. It takes in 5 categories: employment, or lack thereof, housing, credit, household budgets, and net worth. And an outfit called Credibility compiles this, and it's on a 100-point scale, and if you're below 70, that's considered a sign of financial distress. Okay? Guess what? Only 3 states had a worse Consumer Distress Index than Florida. Only 3. Florida's is 63.5, Nevada's is a little less, Georgia and Michigan are just under our scores. For the last 3 years plus this has been going on, gang. This is the 13th straight quarter in which Florida has been caught in the consumer distress zone. Now, it didn't look specifically at Orlando, but, you know, there are figures that are out there, and we report on them and we watch them for you. Orlando's unemployment rate remains way up there, 10.4% of the March reading. And, of course, the home prices continue to slide. The housing market's about the weakest in the country. And Orlando-Daytona Beach now ranks this whole area of the state 25th in the nation in terms of credit card debt. Statewide, there are some signs that things are picking up. But here in Central Florida, not so much. Overall, the U.S. scored less than 70 on the Consumer Distress Index. That's the distress threshold for the 10th straight quarter, so that is 2.5 years now. In the categories of employment, housing, credit, household budgets, and net worth, that's what goes into making the Sunshine State the 4th most distressed state in the country. Let me ask you, what is it that our politicians can do? What is it that you and I can do to ease that consumer distress index? Or is it just something we got to ride with? I refuse to settle for what we have here. I don't think this is a problem without a solution. I'll offer my thoughts and take your calls as we continue. Join me, 407-916-5400, 642. Here's a check on your real-time traffic and weather together on what's now a pretty foggy morning in these parts.
Good morning from the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center. In Longwood this morning westbound, there's some heavy traffic between State Road 434 and 436. There's also some fog in the area. We have some very heavy fog in Kissimmee today on the Greenway, both northbound and southbound between I-4 and Lake Mary Boulevard. The same is true for the Beltway, both northbound and southbound, anywhere from Sidell Road to Ocoee-Apopka Road. Be careful, visibility is reduced in some areas to less than 50 feet. From the Traffic Center, I'm Mimi Lawson.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, it's warm and muggy this morning, and it will be brutally hot later on today. We could be close to a record high with the mercury soaring to 95. Temperatures will stay in the mid-90s tomorrow and Sunday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
I'm Daryl Moody. Coming up at 7, the Casey Anthony murder trial enters day 11 and still no jury. The beginning of hurricane season is less than 2 weeks away, and the director of FEMA has a warning for Floridians. And the crew of Space Shuttle Endeavour continues their work at the International Space Station. Details at 7.
Boy, I got to tell you, I can't wait to get behind the wheel of my fabulous Acura RL sedan, the all-wheel drive black beauty sitting down in the parking lot looking like it's going 100 miles an hour standing still. At Fountain Acura right now, if you haven't yet had the Acura experience, they're incredible machines. I think I can get you set up with an Acura and save thousands of dollars at Fountain Acura when you purchase a certified pre-owned Acura. They have one of the finest selections on the planet, and you're going to get the fabulous Fountain customer service. You're going to be dealing with folks who are just marvelous, and all certified pre-owned Acuras at Fountain go through a rigorous 150-point inspection process. They're going to be like new cars. You're going to save a ton of money. And now, through the end of this month, well-qualified buyers like you at Fountain Acura are going to receive 1.9% financing for 24 to 36 months on Acura certified pre-owned TL models. And you'll love the TL. I've test-driven that, honey, too. Fountain Acura, South OBT, just south of the Florida Mall, online, fountainacura.com.
Traffic on Air Online, a service of your local Toyota dealers. Toyota owners, a good set of tires is your first line of defense against the hazards on the road. Now's the perfect time to let the factory-trained technicians at your local Toyota dealer get you into the right tires at the right price. Toyota.
Have you been injured in an accident or hurt on the job? I'm attorney Matt England with KEL. I have attorneys devoted solely to taking your call and talking to you about your case. Why would you want to speak with a non-attorney when you can call right now and speak with an attorney live? Call now and get answers. Our attorneys are standing by. Call 800-NEW-LAWS, that's 1-800-NEW-LAWS, or go to lawyerasap.com. KEL, you have questions, we have answers. Kaufman, England and Lind, Office Orlando.
Every year, 190,000 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer. This is Reggie Jackson, asking you to make a donation in the fight against this deadly disease. To make a $10 donation, text PCF to the number 20222 and be part of our team.
Message and data rate supply.
As part of AutoNation, America's largest automotive retailer, Courtesy can do big things, like pay you more for your current car. With over 240 showrooms nationwide, there's always demand to buy used cars. In fact, right now at Courtesy Chevrolet, we'll pay you up to 120% of book value for your trade. Plus, right now, shop 6 Chevy models that get over 30 miles per gallon, like a 2011 Cruze for just $15,799, or a 2011 Chevy Malibu for $18,921. Hurry to a Courtesy Chevrolet showroom near you. Courtesy Chevy at the airport, or Courtesy Chevy West Colonial. Because you may never get more for your current car. Courtesy Chevy will pay you up to 120% of book value for your trade. Or get 6 Chevy models over 30 highway MPG. Get a Cruze for $15,799. Malibu for $18,921.
Who are you gonna call? Call Courtesy!
Go to CourtesyDealers.com. Courtesy Chevrolet. Open for service 7 days a week.
Hey folks, Dave Ramsey here. At MyTotalMoneyMakeover.com, you can join tens of thousands of people who are winning with their money. You'll learn how to make a budget, download the Dave Ramsey Show commercial free, and so much more. Join the group today at MyTotalMoneyMakeover.com.
Jay Farner here with Quicken Loans. Are rates going up? Are they going down? You know, no one really knows. But at Quicken Loans, we've got an amazing way to protect you from that uncertainty. It's our new Quicken Loans Rate Drop Advantage program. Simply close a loan with us, and then, if rates happen to drop within the next 7 years, you have the option to refinance, and we'll cover a majority of your closing fees. So give Quicken Loans a call today at 800-970-2611, or go to QuickenLoans.com.
Refinance subject to credit approval. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Machete Grills Pablo Esparza.
My burgers are huge.
My margins, not so much. Then I got a really big tip. Join Sam's Club.
From high-quality foods to freezers, enjoy more business success for less at Sam's Club. Last year, members saved an average of 44% on office supplies alone versus retail superstores. Compare for yourself. Join during National Small Business Week, May 16th to 28th, and get 10 weeks of membership for just $10.
It's my secret recipe for savings.
Sam's Club. Savings made simple.
It's time to just let go at the Trade Winds Island Resorts on St. Pete Beach with swashbuckling fun for the whole crew.
Oh, not again with the whole swashbuckling pirate bit.
But you're Redbeard the pirate, the scurviest pirate dog of the sea.
It's a common misconception, lass. True, I could plunder with the best of them, but nowadays I prefer to pillage the Trade Winds patio with a pina colada.
But I've seen you hoist the Jolly Roger on your ship.
Well, that's for the kids, my dear. They love weighing anchor at Pirate Island and plummeting down Trade Wind's giant water slide.
And being marooned during the dive-in movie.
Oh, it's true. Trade Winds has festivities for the whole family. But don't forget our relaxing getaways for two.
Sounds romantic.
Darling, could you love a man with a peg leg and a parrot?
Only if he can shiver me timbers. For a beach vacation packed with treasures, call Trade Winds at 866. Just let go.
Just let go.
Weather is brought to you by Dr. Don Colbert.
You know, I felt like such a loser, such an absolute loser, and I was never happier when I was losing weight on the Medifast weight loss plan that I want you to get on if you're dealing with a weight nightmare that you just can't seem to you can't effectively lose the weight and keep it off. I mean, you're playing the yo-yo game and the whole deal, and it ends up being a net gain over the years. You know, it's not healthy being overweight. You know, you don't look your best. I found the answer with the Medifast weight loss program, and I want you to be a Medifast loser too, okay? I lost 75 pounds in 6 months, and if I can do it, you can do it. And it's your Medifast center with help from a Medifast counselor on this delicious, nutritious program. You're going to find the weight's going to come flying off. You can lose up to 2 to 5 pounds a week, up to 2 to 5 pounds a week. Some lose far more than that. I want you to call right now and get started. If I can do it, you can do it. And if you call your Medifast Center right now, you tell them the Budman sent you, you can get $100 off any program fee upon enrollment. 1-888-9-MEDIFAST. 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 New centers in Winter Park and Lake Mary, along with the one on Sand Lake Road. Get started today. 1-888-9-MEDIFAST. Online, medifastflorida.com.
Share your unique insight with the world.
Men are all idiots.
407-916-5400. Toll free, 866-916-5400.
Florida has the fourth worst statewide consumer distress index of any state in the country, okay? 5 categories go into this number: employment, housing, credit, household budgets, and net worth. What is it that our leaders can do? What is it we can do to take care of that problem and raise that level and get us off the high distress threshold we are on in this state? I've got some thoughts, but I'd rather talk to the best audience in talk radio, and so I bring Mark on from Oviedo. Good morning, Mark. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, Budman. I just wanted to point out 3, I think, solid actions we can take place, and then I'll hang up and let other callers come in. But first and foremost, without any question, this state has to have a mantra of employment. We have got to create creative, underlying practices through the government to support the cost of employment, things like reducing workman's comp costs to the employer, things like creating insurance pools for property and casualty underwriting to reduce those costs. We've got to get employment going. Employment fuels everything. There's zero business velocity happening right now in Central Florida. Number 2, there has to be a standpoint of looking at best practices against other states, because the competition for businesses flowing into states is unbelievable, and we're not there yet. And number 3, we've got to really look at reallocating what revenue the cities are getting so that they can support the basic levels of service and prioritize that, because there will be reduced revenue in the government stream.
Rock solid stuff, Mark. Thank you. Join us, 407-916-5400. I've got a very personal approach to all of this. And Right now, I want to tell you we've got a very, very foggy morning here, and it's causing a problem on the roads. Be very, very careful. The fog will burn off later on. We've got a lot of moisture in the air, so it's going to get really scorchingly hot, but humid as well. It's going to be a tough afternoon with a high of 95. We're now at 70 degrees here in Orlando. The weekend looks pretty much the same. Hot, bright, and sunny, but really, really intense. I'll get to my story on this issue of how to deal on a very personal level with this consumer distress index and keep yourself off it. You know, the bigger picture is a little bit tougher to tackle because there are things out of our control, but there are things you and I can do. And I want to share just something that's going to sound so simple. At first you're going to think, Budman, you're an idiot. But then again, you've thought that before. But when you think about it, you'll understand I'm onto something. Here's Robert in Orlando checking in. Good morning at 6:53. Robert, how are you?
Great, Bud. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Hey, I was just on vacation over in central Russia, and I was amazed at the amount of oil that these guys are putting out. While I was waiting for my train, as far as I could look left and as far as I could look right, tanker cars loaded with oil. And as one would go by 5 minutes later, another one. And my wife and I, we did a 2-day drive going through an area where they're actually pumping the oil. And, Bud, they put an 18-inch high berm around it. They got cows grazing right next to it. They're growing vegetables. I'm telling you, the environmentalists in this country have a stranglehold of misconception going. And I was reading Wall Street Journal over in Europe, and they said that Russia's exports are almost $200 billion a month. I saw, train cars.
Well, people don't, when you think about oil, you think about the Middle East. But the fact of the matter is oil is one. Russia is one of the leaders in oil.
Well, we have supposedly more than they do, but
we do.
Let us drill. They said, what, in the Dakotas, a huge oil find off the coast of Florida, and as long as we keep shipping our wealth overseas to countries that hate us, it creates a chain reaction. If energy costs go down here, it affects every single business. There's not a business you can name that it doesn't have an effect on. If the energy prices were half of what they are now, do you not think that would increase jobs significantly?
No question about it, Robert, and thank you very much. And also, if we had drill, baby, drill like we should have off the coast of Florida, we would have a ton of well-paying jobs. And as our first caller on this said, dealing with the unemployment situation is the absolute key to it all. And in the grand scheme of things, that's absolutely true. But if you want to deal with reducing your own consumer distress index, here's one thing you need to learn to do. And I've learned how to do it the hard way because I always thought the good times were going to keep on rolling. When I was in the television news business, I was enjoying success over a long period of time. I was a news anchor, and I was with stations that were doing well, and it really looked like I was completely bulletproof, and I was not bulletproof. And I wound up losing my job a couple of times when we couldn't afford that because we were living on the edge and beyond, because we just figured that, you know what, hey, it's going to be fine. Listen, the Budman's not going to lose his job. Are you kidding me? Well, the Budman did lose his job. We were raising 3 kids at the time. It was right in the prime. This happened a couple of times to us, where we needed more income than we've ever needed before to keep the family afloat. And all of a sudden it was gone, and it was gone for long periods of time. And we finally learned our lesson about this because we were living, as so many are, and I'm not accusing you of this, I don't know your personal situation, but you know there are a lot of folks listening to this show right now of whom this is true. We were living as though we were making twice as much money as we were. We had the credit cards cranked up, the whole deal. We were living in more house than we could afford because we felt, hey, as long as I'm, bringing in the bucks in the front door like this, we're going to be able to sustain this. And this isn't going to end. The key here to reducing your consumer distress index is to make a commitment from here on out and start making the moves today to put yourself in this position to not live the rest of your life as though you were making twice as much as you are, but live the rest of your life as though you're making half what you're making. Think about the ramifications of that on a personal level. Because, you know, these are statewide figures here, the Consumer Distress Index, but they're made up of individual stories. Your story, my story, his story, her story. And you want to reduce the stress in your life. You make a commitment to do that, and you will find it happens almost immediately. And then, instead of, you know, counting on the fact that the good times will keep on rolling, and we know what folly that is, don't we? You live like you're making half what you're making, and you bank the rest, and you put it away in savings, as almost no one has done in this country, for a rainy day, and you've got the cushion that further reduces the stress index for you and your family. When you're finally beyond the scenario in which you find there is always too much month at the end of the money, it's absolutely life-changing. We're all learning a lot of lessons the hard way. 20 years ago, Linda and I learned that lesson the hard way. Now, I'm not saying we've always stuck strictly to what I'm talking about, because it's a general formula, and things ebb and flow as circumstances in life change. But if you live like you make half as much as you actually do, instead of living like you make twice as much as you do, I don't know about the statewide Consumer Distress Index, but yours will drop through the floor. And boy, is that a great, great feeling. You'll be amazed how you can get by paying cash on the barrelhead and just not having as much stuff. Anyway, coming up, does fidelity matter in politics? A candidate found to have cheated on his or her spouse. Should it ruin their political career? Should it matter at all? I've got some strong opinions on this, and I'll bet you do too, and we'll be talking about it to kick off hour number 2 on BHL. Now a news update at the top of the hour coming your way. Daryl Moody in for Michelle Murillo. Stay tuned.
WFLF Pine Hills, WTKS FM HD2 Cocoa Beach. We are Fox News. We are 540 WFLA. 540 WFLA. Local news from the Fox Orlando News Center.
Good morning from the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center. No accidents to report on the roadways this morning, but fog is a major issue. In fact, in many places you simply cannot see. You're going to find visibility reduced on the Greenway, the Beach Line, and the Beltway this morning. Both eastbound and westbound on I-4 between Mate and 434 has particularly heavy traffic. Again, the fog is a big issue. If you get stuck in a slowdown, you can tell us by calling 866-676-TIPS. From the Traffic Center, I'm Mimi Lawson.
Traffic on Air Online, a service of the Florida Lottery. The current estimated Florida Lotto jackpot is $31 million. Want to give your ticket even more power? Play Florida Lotto with Extra. For only $1 more per play, you can multiply your non-jackpot winnings up to 5 times. Match 3 numbers with Extra and win a minimum of $25. Play Florida Lotto with Extra today.
Social Security claim? Visit forthepeople.com. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, it's warm and muggy this morning, and it will be brutally hot later on today. We could be close to a record high with the mercury soaring to 95. Temperatures will stay in the mid-90s tomorrow and Sunday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
Score with 540 WFLA Sports.
It didn't take long last night for the Boston Bruins to jump on the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Held in by Johnny Boychuk, right point, right corner Milan Lucic. Lucic, a centering feed, Krejci open, score! Well, Krejci was not only wide open, he used great patience to get Rolison down, and they tucked in the backhand, so the Bruins have the game's first goal, just 1:09 into the first.
I'm Bram Parsons, and this sports update brought to you by David Moss Toyota. The Bruins would tap in another in the third, but that goal, 69 seconds in, was the winner as the Bruins took a 2-1 series lead with a 2-0 shutout at Tampa Bay. Tim Thomas stopped all 31 shots from the Bolts, who have lost 2 straight games in the series. In the majors last night, Tampa Bay got solo homers from Kelly Shopich and B.J. Upton, but that was it as the Rays lost to Toronto 3-2. The Marlins also lost, falling 5-1 to the Chicago Cubs. Mike Stanton hit his 9th homer of the season in the loss. On the college diamond, 6th-ranked Florida State outscored number 15 Clemson 8-6 to open their series. Win was number 40 for FSU and clinches the number 2 seed in the ACC Conference Tournament. Nolan Fontana and Mike Zunino hit back-to-back RBI singles as Florida pulled away to a 9-6 win over Kentucky in a crucial SEC battle in Gainesville. And the Florida Gators basketball team will face Syracuse in the Big East SEC Challenge next season. UF will travel to upstate New York on December 2nd to face the Orange, a team they're 1-3 against all time. All 12 teams in the SEC will participate in this year's challenge. The league went 3-1 last season. That's your sports update on your Gator Nation station, 540 WFLA.
BHL. Wake up and stand up for what's right. 540 WFLA presents the 50,000-watt front porch. And another hour of Bud Henniger Live.
The politics of infidelity. Good morning. That's where we begin talking in the second hour here on the 50,000-watt front porch. The Bud Man with you, where God and country are honored and old-fashioned American values never go out of style. Jenna and Jeff in the control room, and I've been looking at this situation and all that's been going down in the news. We had Arnold who was saying, I had this love child and I was very sorry. I apologize to Maria and my family, and all of this was going on under the roof, and I have no excuses for it. It was just very bad, and I'm sorry. Well, okay, should that be enough? I remember we were going to change the Constitution. Some wanted to, so that Arnold could actually run for president of the United States. Can you imagine if all of this were revealed while he were president of the United States? Newt Gingrich, until he just blew himself up repeatedly coming out of the gate with his presidential campaign here in a way I just don't think I've ever seen with another candidate. And he's such a smart guy. It's incredible how this guy has hit the self-destruct buttons. I always thought that ultimately Newt was going to have to deal with the reality that he's been married 3 times and cheated on his prior 2 wives, one when she was recovering from cancer. And the issue is, should fidelity or infidelity matter when it comes to considering someone's candidacy for elective office? There's a school of thought that thinks, listen, if you keep probing into people's private lives and this stuff gets gets brought out, it intimidates otherwise good people who have been unfaithful at one time or another to their spouse. It intimidates them and keeps them from running, even though they may offer a tremendous amount that we could need at the local level, the state level, the national level, whatever office they happen to be running from. And we never get the very best people out there because nobody's perfect, and nobody wants all of this out there, all the dirty laundry. You know, and maybe your kids don't know about the infidelity, but it comes out. You consider the trauma in the family, and a lot of people just get scared away now because everything's on the table. All right? There is no more privacy in this country. And for people who are running for public office, really no expectation of personal privacy, is there? So what about the issue of infidelity? If somebody is shown to have been unfaithful to their husband or their wife, should they be disqualified by you from ever having an opportunity to get your vote, no matter what else it is they bring to the table? That's the question. 407-916-5400, toll-free 1-866-916-5400. I understand the argument that we're going to lose some good people this way, but there are a lot of people out there, okay? There's no one particular person who's going to make or break this city, make or break this county, make or break this state, make or break this nation by whether or not they wind up winning elective office. Sorry. We got 310 million people in this country. As far as I'm concerned, infidelity, and please, some of you are going to think, oh, Budman, you're on your high horse here, holier than thou, the whole deal. Okay? Well, I'm sorry. I know what I want in a candidate, and I think infidelity is a character flaw. And I think if you have lied, and if you have failed to keep your solemn vow given before God at the altar, face to face with the love of your life, if you cannot be faithful to that commitment, I'm never going to be comfortable that you are going to stay faithful to your commitments when you're in office that you made when you were campaigning. And don't we see that all the time? And then, if you're willing to lie to the person you love most, you are willing to lie about anything, and I will not be able to trust you sufficiently to vote for you. You may have all kinds of other wonderful attributes, but this is a character flaw. Newt Gingrich has a character flaw. Lots of others have, too. Governor Mark Sanford in South Carolina just seemed like the most clean-cut all-American guy in the world, and he's got a chick on the side in Argentina. Blows up his family, blows up his political life, and that's exactly what should have happened to this character. Arnold should be over for Arnold. What a disgrace. We don't need Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, you know, there was a time when the press protected cheaters. Well, they don't anymore. JFK never would have been president if the stuff he was doing before and during office came to light. Before office, he never would have been president. While he's in office with Maryland or whoever else it happened to be, if that all came to light, I'm sure it would have precipitated a constitutional crisis and impeachment proceedings, the whole thing. Bill Clinton, that's not acceptable in a president. So you tell me, should infidelity matter in politics? I understand the arguments that it shouldn't. I've made my own personal decision, and not because I'm better than anybody, although I have been married for 39 years to one wonderful woman, so hopefully that means I stand for one thing: trying to keep the promise that I made to Linda at the altar in 1972. It's easy to keep the promise. She's that wonderful. Toll-free, 1-866-916-5400. On the phones as we continue. Don't go away. I cannot wait to hear your take on this. Infidelity, deal breaker or not in politics? 712 on BHL, real-time traffic and weather together on the twos.
Good morning from the David Moss Volkswagen Lee Road Traffic Center in Longwood westbound. Between State Road 434 and Maitland Boulevard, there is a lot of heavy traffic. The big problem, though, is the fog in the area. In fact, on all the roadways, including the 408, the Greenway, the Beltway, the Beach Line, all very, very heavy fog. Some areas you can't even see. Visibility reduced to less than 50 feet. If you see trouble that we aren't talking about, please call us at the tip line. From the Traffic Center, I'm Mimi Lawson.
From 540 WFLA, Orlando's 24-hour weather channel, it's warm and muggy this morning, and it will be brutally hot later on today. We could be close to a record high with the mercury soaring to 95. Temperatures will stay in the mid-90s tomorrow and Sunday. Weather updated around the clock on 540 WFLA. I'm David Maddox at the Weather Channel.
I'm Daryl Moody. Coming up at 7:30, it's day 11 of jury selection in the murder trial of Casey Anthony. Will today be the day a jury is finally seated? A newly signed state elections law has Democrats in Tallahassee crying foul, and a South Florida man is threatening to shred the Quran on Memorial Day. Details at 7:30.
Hey, I want to talk about your retirement situation. If you're close to your retirement, or your folks are, I want you to stay with me here, and I want you to do one thing. I want you to get on the phone right now and schedule a free 2-hour consultation about how to get money out of your retirement nest egg for the rest of your life, so you can have the retirement you've always dreamed of. You most certainly deserve it, or your folks do, if that's their situation right now. I want you to call Nelson Investment Planning Services and schedule a free 2-hour consultation all about how to get income from your money in retirement. Jack Nelson and Joel Garris have been helping folks through their retirement years and managing it all for them for so many years. And they're just wonderful to deal with. They'll get to know you personally and take a genuine interest in your situation. Tax matters are complicated. Social Security, estate planning, investment issues, to name just a few when it comes to retirement. Don't go it alone. Well, the last thing we need is to see you bleeding down your assets one by one until you've got nothing left. That's no kind of retirement. Call for that retirement consultation. Nelson Investment Planning Services, 407-629-6477, 407-629-NIPS. And remember, Jack and Joel's show, Dollars and Cents, Sunday mornings at 9 on 540 WFLA.
Traffic on air online brought to you by Diamond Exchange, Florida's diamond engagement ring leader. Show her you will love her forever with a diamond engagement ring from the Diamond Exchange, East Colonial Drive at McGuire Boulevard.
I love your show, and you bring back the good reputation of attorneys. You represent your field well, and I just wanted to say that first before I started my call.
Thank you for the encouraging words. I appreciate that very much.
Justice for All with Mark Nation, Saturdays at 1.
Every year, 190,000 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer. This is Reggie Jackson, asking you to make a donation in the fight against this deadly disease. To make a $10 donation, text PCF to the number 20222 and be part of our team.
Message and data rate supply.
Boss, you know that window I told you about? It's over here.
Shh, you're gonna wake up the whole neighborhood.
You watch out for landmines, they got dogs.
Never mind the dogs. Are you sure they don't have safe-touch security?
Well, they didn't as of last week.
What? You haven't checked since last week?
Sorry.
You do know that people are getting safe-touch all the time, right?
I know.
And you do know about the safe-touch two-way communicator, and
Get your home building and remodeling questions answered by the expert. Listen to Builder Remodeler Live with Monty Anderson Thursday nights at 7 on 540 WFLA. How's your home's AC holding up? EC Waters can lower your power bill and help you take advantage of rebates and incentives.